Mark goes to the movies. Mark goes to the movies. Mark goes to the movies. Long kick shout. Mark goes to the movies. Mark goes to the movies. Mark goes to the movies. Mark goes to the movies.
This is a goose. You listen to Mark Goes to the Movies. Huh? Maybe.
Hey guys, welcome to Mark Goes to the Movies. I'm your host, Mark. Have another movie review. We're going back to that. This is one I finished so late last night. We couldn't get the review done. Didn't want to spend another 30 minutes. I was supposed to do Battle of the IRS today. Again, this is a Monday, so it's going to come out later in the week. But I was supposed to call the IRS today. Hopefully, by the time this comes out, me and the IRS will have settled our differences. But nope, I was on the phone for 2 hours waiting. Didn't get there. Then it was after I went to the we had a supervisor meeting today at work. So I came back. Thought I'd all right. Let's try to knock it out at 1 o'clock. It is now almost 4 o'clock. 2 hours waiting on this IRS to get through. Couldn't do it. So, but no, this is thought it was there was a funny thing. I hope that it yeah, I got the little fuzzy things on my microphone. When I did that, it went whoosh. I thought it was so funny. So everyone's cutting the grass today. It's like 60s, 60 or low 60s, low to mid 60s. So it's not too warm, but it's not too cold. So everyone's cutting the grass. I did a small cut maybe a week ago. We got all that rain. Now it's growing back. However, if you don't know, you probably don't know, I live across the street from a refinery. Like there's the refinery is on the left of me, and then there's a big road, and then there's South Roxanne and all these houses. So we all live next to the refinery. Sometimes you get a nice fire in the sky. It's like a nice bonfire, them burning the gases and stuff. But for the most part, it's just it can be kind of weird for some people just seeing a giant refinery across the street. But they used to be a lot busier, and they used to have the parking lot across the road, and all the workers would have to cross the road. So there's my house, and then there's a big piece of land where a parking lot used to be, but they I don't know, but basically got rid of the parking lot, and now it's just a field almost. What is a field? It's maybe like an acre, I guess. But Max, that's where Max goes to the bathroom at. He has a nice big piece of land to go do his business. The people that cut the grass though, because like I mean we kind of use the land, I guess, but we don't cut it because it's the refinery's land. So last year they just pretty just regular cuts. This year they're doing lines in the grass, like they're cutting it different patterns. And I was like, I know Max noticed it because he was like looking around when we used the bathroom. He was looking around like, hey, this is different. This is they got lines. He looked back at me and I was like, yeah, I know. They got lines. They're doing better. This is nice good breeze. But now we're coming up to springtime, like real springtime where it's not going back and forth. I hope we don't get I don't look at the weather. I know rain's coming, but rain's always coming. Yeah. Like late 70s to the 60s. Tomorrow's gonna be a little colder, but then Wednesday's 71, Thursday's 76, then rain. Gotta take it what you get, I guess. I'm just ready for yard sale season at this point. Ready to build my VHS collection to the ultimate goal. I'm back to well, I'm not back to selling on eBay. I'm getting rid of eBay. The too much money for one was they take off what you sell. I'm gonna catch a little secret. Don't tell the government. But I used to sell. You can't see me. I used to sell sold as blank DVDs that used to have cartoons on them. Might not have cartoons on them. Might have something. Let's say they had programs on it, but they were sold as blank. And now I guess eBay's cracking down on that. Macari though, that's what everyone's going to, and so that's what we're trying, and we're trying Macari. Although, again, to get started, it takes like you want someone that's they can trust, and it's a little hard building trust to an app. But hopefully, yeah, you make $5. Everything's going to purchasing power to pay off that debt because that is a lot. That is my biggest debt is purchasing power. They take $330 per check. That's 660 a month goes to purchasing power, and that's like it is good for a lot of stuff, but sometimes it gets you carried away with it, and so the goal is going to be paying off a lot of that. Gonna get back in good standing. Um, Whereas we can buy, more flexibility with movies per week because now I still have movie money for movies. However, it gets kind of the budget gets tight when you have like June. June's gonna be a big month for movies. A lot of stuff coming to 4K, getting upgraded, and you can sell off your Blu-ray copies, but the value is gonna go down quite a bit. So really, just kind of building that, and that's the end goal is more financial security, more money in your checks. 'Cause who knows what his IRS battles will come up with? Hopefully, he just stays the same. I thought we was getting rid of the IRS, guys. Like I thought that's what everyone was on board with. They're like, we should abolish it. And I was like, hell yeah, dude. And everyone's like, we're gonna stop paying taxes. And I'm like, I'm already there. And and yeah, so it didn't happen. And now their IRS is like, well, all right, well now you gotta pay. And they're right. You whatever. But so getting to the movie, the movie I watched is called Hell High. It's from Arrow Video. I had it for a while. Let's see if I get you. It starts off great. Let me get some notes. I looked up the soundtrack because I was like, God, there's a song in there. I was like, God damn, that's pretty good. It's a pretty good song, and I don't think it. Yeah, it didn't show up. Nobody. So what was really great about this movie, the Arrow Video at least, it's not. If you get like a DVD and it's not Arrow Video, you're probably not gonna get it. But the Blu-ray had a introduction from Joe Bob Briggs, who is to me one of the most important people for movies in my life was Joe Bob Briggs. He does an introduction out of nowhere. I was like, it was way before the last drive-in, I think, because he looked a lot younger, and way after Monster Vision, but like he was, yeah, he was not that old looking, and it's one of his favorite movies, and I could see why. It was pretty good. I did really like it. Uh, it came out in 1989. It was a slasher movie, but by that time people didn't like slashers anymore. Unless he was like a main franchise. So everyone in the movie, they didn't do anything else afterwards. But it is really interesting. I thought it was gonna be like a low budget type thing, but it's definitely not. There was there was some stuff that did make it low budget. But for the most part, it didn't look low budget. It looked like it was a fairly not high priced movie, but fairly decently budgeted movie. Like low budget stuff is bad acting. There's good actors in this one. I was shocked they didn't do anything else. Um, but yeah, it really the things that it like you in any movie you have good guys, bad guys, and you have victims, you have antagonists, protagonists, the plot and stuff like that. Your basic deals for a story. However, when it gets real interesting is when the heroes you're supposed to be cheering for are morally ambiguous, if I'm using the right words. Where like they make some decisions that you're like, hey, wait a minute, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. Like that's not right. And then they do good things and bad things, and you don't really know who to root for. and it makes it makes it interesting. I'm gonna spoil this movie for you. I'm gonna spoil a 30 May 12th is when it came out. So I'm gonna spoil a almost 37-year-old movie. It's up to you. Um, I don't know what it was on. I'll have to look up, tell you what you can watch it on after I do this. I got my notes here. So yeah, it starts off, and first of all, Joe Bob does his drive-in totals, which is great. But it starts off. There's this little girl playing Google by the Swamp is what they call it, and she has a little playhouse. And then she hears a motorcycle coming, and she get out of the house, and so it ends up being like this guy and this girl, and the guys wants to have sex with this girl in this little in the little girl's playhouse because he's like, hey, this is the best place, going down by the swamp. And so he takes him, and the girl's like, no, I don't want to do it here. I don't feel safe because obviously it's a fucking shack in the swamp. He gets mad. First of all, he was gonna rape her. I was like, hey, what the hell, dude? This is like 5 minutes into the movie. Like, what is with these movies in the '80s? And so he gets mad and he's like, all right, let's get out of here then. And then he tears a baby doll's head off from the little girl. The little girl gets upset, takes a bucket of, they call it slime, but it's basically mud. And as they get ready to drive past the little playhouse thing, she throws the mud on the biker's face. The biker loses control and somehow gets impaled on some kind of post, like him and the woman. And apparently, it really messes up this little girl. Little girl, 18 years later, she ends up being the teacher to the science class. Um, and again, there's all kinds of weird students in there. There's athletes, and there was like a guy that used to be a football player. He quit the team, so now everyone hates him. So then you got like the rejects and the freaks, I guess we're gonna call it. Um, they cause a lot of troubles. There is one. So the one guy, what the hell's his name? It's not Hemingway. Oh, let's see. I think of Ernest Hemingway when I see the name. Oh, Dickens. That's why I was like, is a fucking uh Arthur or some shit. So Dickens is this guy. He's like a class clown. He's one of the freaks. He's not going anywhere. They don't imply he does drugs, but he's definitely drinking at school. And then he has his friends who's like the fat guy. I forget his name. Oh, Smiler or some stupid. And then Queenie, who I guess is like she's a very promiscuous woman, is what it ends up being. And John, who's the main character of the story, is what it ends up being. So there's no final girl; it's a final guy in this one. So anyways, yeah. So Dickens is like messing around in class, and the woman's name. Oh, Brooke. So no, Mrs. is just Brooks her name. So maybe Miss Brooks. We'll call her Miss Brooks because the teacher, that sounds weird calling her by her first name. Still at 37 years old. I'm still almost 37 years old. I don't like calling teachers by their first name. They So yeah, Mrs. Brooks. Guess I don't know. She's super like someone should have looked into this because she's like super on edge all the time. The students aren't even that bad, right? Dickens is just harmlessly playing some stuff with her. Um, like I don't know, picking up the tests and all that and dropping it on the floor and all that junk. And yeah, she slaps the shit out of him. Like, hey, that's gonna get you fired, ma'am. You slapped your students. That's not good. And so yeah, he's upset with her. He's gonna get her back. He recruits John, who just got kicked off the football or who just left the football team, so everyone hates him. And he's like, "Oh, we can put another person in our group." And then it's almost like a gay relationship, almost is what it feels like. Like he's like trying to pull him into his crowd. I don't know. There's a lot of subtext in there. I think if you really think about it, if it was like if it was today's age, that's what it would be. They'd be like, "Oh, they're trying to have a gay relationship. John, and Dickens were going to be together." But 89, that's not even point putting that movie. No point of even putting that in the movie. Jesus. Uh, yeah. So they, I guess John's fully falling into despair. I guess with this bad crowd. And then he meets Queenie, who's a very loose woman, and it pulls him all the way in. Like it's weird with that shit too. She had a weird thing. Anyways, what it ends up being is Brooks at home, Mrs. Brooks is at home, and then Dickens is like, "We're gonna get her back," and they get mud from the swamp, or mud or slime from the swamp. It looks green, but and when you look in the swamp, it's brown, so it's definitely a mixture of the two. So they get swamp, they get the stuff from the swamp. They throw it out the windows, and this apparently triggers flashbacks of Mrs. Brooks because she obviously was unstable. And then yeah, she's completely losing it. Uh Dickens is like, "Hey, it's not good enough." She's freaked out on all that stuff. Her friend comes by and puts her in bed and like, hey, warns her it's just kids playing pranks. But she's clearly traumatized. Dickens comes in and he's like, "I'm gonna rape her." Like again, this movie with the rape. And then so Queenie is like, they're like not leaving. He has a key, so they can't leave him. So they don't know the other guys are outside. Was waiting for Dickens, I guess, to finish up whatever he's doing. Queenie comes in there and he's like, "That's not how you rape someone." So you're like, "Hey, this woman, like, they're getting along with John John, our main character. Like, you think that she's a good person? Not at all, because she's like, "Oh, this is how you rape Mrs. Brooks," and starts feeling her up and stuff. And then John John comes in there and he's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" And then she fakes being like, "I had no idea what he was doing," and all this other junk. So, anyways, they get into a fight. Dickens and John John get into a fight, flustering back and forth. And she just, Mrs. Brooks gets up out of bed, jumps out of the window. Everyone thinks she's dead, even though the smiley guy was like, Smiler was going out there and he checked on her. He didn't check on her at all. He's just like, "Oh, yeah, she's dead," and they just took his word for it. But no, then they're like, well, they're fixing to leave because they're like, well, they're gonna get us. Let's frame somebody. And then Dickens is like, let's frame the football quarterback because he's definitely easy to frame. I'm just forgetting this other part too. So there was a funny thing where they're like trying to recruit him into like the club beforehand. I'm sorry, I'm way out of order in this, but I just remember this shit being ridiculous. Dickens drives like a Mustang convertible. Right? They're all in there. They're all at the football game. For as they say, the football stuff's gay, but like they watch it, and they're watching the football game, and then they're like, "Hey, I got an idea," and they drive down the road or whatever, and then like burst onto the football field, and John John intercepts a pass and takes the ball with them, and everyone just like, they're just like laughing their asses off. Like it was funny. But no, so then they get back there, so they're gonna frame this football quarterback, who I guess was causing problems for John John anyway. So that's why he gets on board with it. He's like, "All right, we could do that, I guess. I don't want my life ruined." So John John leaves to go get the football quarterback's jacket. I think is what it is, jacket or jersey. Uh, and they're like, "Yeah, go get it." And then they stay there with Mrs. Brooks, although Mrs. Brooks isn't actually dead. So when Queenie goes outside to check on the body, she's gone. And then they hear voices and lowering out in the woods, and Mrs. Brooks bashes Queenie's head in. Even though you think, hey, maybe she's not totally evil. She did try to rape. She did fill up Miss Brooks. So again, that's that moral ambiguity. I'm sorry, wrong word for sure. The moral compass is all skewed and all that stuff. So yeah, then Queenie's dead, and then the fat kid, what is? Oh, he goes out in the woods because he's definitely panicking. He sees John John's came back. John John goes and checks on Queenie because he sees her dead body. Mrs. Brooke comes up behind him, and smacks him in the head. Doesn't kill him, and he falls down a hill. And no, he's knocked out. So Smiler comes out there, checks on the car. He says, "Oh, he's back," and then he gets I think he gets impaled. Let me see. Yeah, I think he gets impaled. Mrs. Brooke, they're gonna steal his jersey, the quarterback's jersey. All right. Let's see. No, Smiler gets stabbed in the pencil. So yeah, Mrs. Brooks take a pencil and stabs Smiler in the side of the head in his temple. This was funny. So Mrs. Brooks jumps down from the staircase with a butcher knife in hand and stabs Dickens in the shoulder and pins him to the wall. She then is just completely snapped and like has him tied up, ready for dissection, with all the parts marked off, and everything. And he's like strapped to the wall. John comes in there and she's like, "Hey, don't do it." Rescues Dickens, even though he's definitely the bad guy in this. And then he jumps to go and kills Mrs. Brooks. Mrs. Brooks actually has like a little impaler thing, like I think it's a fence post. So when Dickens jumps on Mrs. Brooks, uh, Mrs. Brooks gets stabbed in the throat, or throat slit, and then Dickens gets stabbed, so they're both dead. And John is just like, I can't believe all the death. And then the next day, it shows him going in his room, just like being traumatized from all this. Now, this is where you don't know if the movie ends or not, right? You don't know if it's a dream sequence or if it actually happened, because what ends up happening is the next day at school, the police come and they arrest the quarterback for whatever fucking reason, and John's happy about it. So you're like, he's not a good guy after all. He's a piece of shit, right? The quarterback didn't do nothing. He's a little dumb, but yeah, I guess that would ties him to that. And ends up being that the John is so freaked out about everything that he starts seeing Mrs. Brooks everywhere. So uh I don't know. It seems what do I do with my remote? Oh, yeah. So he's all freaked out and stuff. That's how the movie ends. Now, did it actually happen? Probably not. I don't think it did. I think he was just so traumatized he just saw his future, because there's no way they'd arrest the football quarterback just out of that. But yeah, it was really good. I like it. Will I watch it a bunch? Is it going to be one of the movies I tell everyone about? Probably not. Probably not it. The hell's this? Oh yeah, that's sorry. I'm watching clips from other movies, and Edward Scissorhands popped on. I haven't seen Edward Scissorhands in years. Definitely gonna have to watch that one at some point soon. This was really good. But no, it's not a movie like I don't know, like Microwave Massacre's like a really good movie. Death Ring, Blood Rage, the Boogans. Those are some high quality movies. This one was a 4 out of 5. It was enjoyable. I really liked it. I didn't waste my time watching it. It was pretty good. I'll probably watch it maybe a couple more times in my lifetime at some point. But no, that is Hell High, or there was something else. I forget what it was called. Reign of Terror. The movies. It's weird how they change names in movies, and they're like, that's what they used to do back in the '80s. They used to release a movie, and then if it didn't get a whole lot of acclaim, they would just rename the movie, which is just weird, right? Be like, oh, if I didn't fulfill my parents' wishes and I was a little bit of a failure, they'd be like, oh no, that's not Mark. This is Mike or Matt. Like, there's a different name. Uh, but yeah, that's what they used to do in the '80s, like Fall Break and The Mangler. The Mangler is actually Fall Break, but oh no, the Mutilator. I don't know why I'm thinking of the Mangler. The Mutilator is actually Fall Break. God damn it, Mark. All right. Well, before that, I'm gonna end this on a low note, anyways. Before I make it even worse. So appreciate you guys listening. We're at 583 listeners, by the way, on Monday afternoon. 583 listeners. Let's see if we can get to 650 by the end of the week. That's my goal. That's my challenge. Is 650 at the end of the week. But as always, appreciate it, guys.